After California, the Almanac Trail headed north to Phoenix, Oregon, near Ashland. Go ahead.
Okay, hey, I'm Ivan Holland here in sunny Phoenix, Oregon. Here we're in the smoke. We're with Healthcare for All Oregon, and we're getting ready to have you put on your show.
And my name's Mark Kellenbeck. I'm also from Phoenix, involved with Healthcare All Oregon. It's probably the premier issue for many Oregonians, following up on the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. It's really addressing what Obamacare cannot do. It would provide universal care for all Oregonians, regardless of whether they're working or not, whether they're wealthy or not, regardless of their age, regardless of their gender, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their age.
Medicare for all.
Medicare for all.
You bet. That's
where we educate everybody and we build our database. We've got a movie that's wonderful. It's called the Healthcare Movie. It's 65 minutes long. If you would show it in your living room and have a couple of your friends and neighbors come over, we'll come and we'll talk about this plan. That's what grassroots organizing is. And we're doing this all over the state of Oregon. It's the most exciting thing. Thank you for being here tonight. We're going to pass the hat, and what happens with any money that we've collected for this event tonight, we're sharing half of it with the State Healthcare for All Oregon organization, and the other half stays right here for Healthcare for All Oregon Rogue Valley. So thank you for your generosity, and we're going to pass the hat, and then we'll have one more song from our great entertainers before the second
one other
half.
thing. This is happening in 20 places across the United States tonight. 20 different places.
July 30th, 1965. Do you know what happened that day? This is the birthday for Medicare. It's a happy birthday time, folks. Yes, perhaps the greatest compact that we did in this country, following up Social Security, was in 1965. And stood right there was Lyndon B. Johnson with Truman at his side. Oh yes! And in fact, all across America, is there a more powerful and supportive program than this Medicare? So, happy birthday for that. Let's pass the hat. Quit talking. Okay.
Oh, the U.S. healthcare system is a mess. The U.S. healthcare system is a mess. It's a mess. Oh, the system's really broken. From Seattle to Hoboken. Oh, the U.S. healthcare system is a mess. It's a mess. If you think we ought to fix it, raise your hand. Raise your hand. If you think we ought to fix it, raise your hand. When the boss gets in the way, we're gonna roll right over him. Roll right over him. Roll right over him. If the boss gets in the way. I guess it's so funny. Good night.
Very nice.
And old sister, good night.
Our next show was up in Bend, Oregon, where we sang for the Central Oregon Social Justice Center. After Bend, we went north up to the Bonneville Dam, where Woody Guthrie and Pete Seeger had stopped back in 1941. Our next stop in the tour was up in Portland. There we had the chance to sing for the Service Employees International Union and learn what they are doing up in Portland, Oregon. There you go.
My name is Linda Jones. I am an internal organizer for Service Employees International Union, Local 49. I work in property services. I work with security officers that have just recently won their first contract here in Portland as part of a national campaign. What's going on right now is a lot of unrest due to unfair things in the workplace as it relates to workers' rights, and people are getting tired. And now officers as well as other members that are forming their union have decided to take a stand because they realize the value of what a union can do for them, the union difference.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
That first recording of union songs, have a listen to Pete Seeger at the age of 21, beating Which Side Are You On? It is so essentially Pete. It's the beginning of Pete Seeger. It's all there. It sends shivers up and down my spine every time I hear that. I play.
After our fun night in Portland, we headed over near Tacoma, Washington to sing for the Longshoremen's Union Hall. Go ahead.
My name's Scott Mason. I'm president of the International Longshore and Warehouse Union, Local 23 here in Tacoma.
And what do you have there, Scott?
I have the first tool of the trade of a longshoreman.
Can you tell us about
the
it?
Cargo hook. Goes back to Egyptian times.
Uh-huh.
There was hundreds of different styles of hooks for sacks, for pulp, for pulling logs, for different guys designed their own to do different things for different types of sacks or different types of cargoes. Lumber, just about anything you could think of, when they were moving cargo by hand. So if you come over here, you'll see a display of about 40 of them. The most common, though, is this, which is our logo, which you'll find everywhere in the Isle of View. It says injury to one is an injury to all in our logo. And as of now, in this culture, there's hundreds and hundreds of tattoos up and down the waterfront of this hook. And they make artwork with them. People hang them from there. It's pretty well known that you're a longshoreman if you've got this hook tattooed to your ear, carry it, or it's hanging in your car.
The tour. Now, when they started doing that tour, they were invited to play over in Pittsburgh, and that was their first show. And they needed a way to get there. Now they had this out and talking union, but they needed more money. They needed a touring car. You see, they needed a touring car that would sleep four. And so what they did was they recorded 2 albums for General Records, one called Deep Sea Shanties and one called Sodbuster Ballads, and they had $250. And with that $250, Mill Lampell's family knew a mobster named Joey the Mouth. Now, Joey the Mouth had such a touring car that was kind of available.
Joey talked a little too much, so it seemed he didn't need it anymore.
Now, Pete said that when they got the car, they found out it had lead shields in the side doors and bulletproof glass. And it had pop-up seats like the old taxis. It was a midnight blue, 1932 Buick. And that's how they started doing their tour, riding together from over in Greenwich Village, driving out to over in Pittsburgh. And they had heard that Pittsburgh, the steelworkers, had a lockout. And they needed some music. And the almanacs were ready. Pete was driving. He said he wasn't a very good driver. Woody was in the back, Lee Hayes and Mill Lampell, and before you know it, they started composing, and by the time they got to Pittsburgh, they had this song. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and... Pittsburgh town is a smoky old town, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh town is a smoky old town, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh town is a smoky old town, solid iron from a Keysport down, Pittsburgh. Lord God, Pittsburgh. Well, Woody Jones and Lachlan Steele, Pittsburgh. Well, Woody Jones and Lachlan Steele, Pittsburgh. Well, Woody Jones and Lachlan Steele, up and down the river as far as you can see now, Pittsburgh. Lord God, Pittsburgh. All I do is cough and choke in Pittsburgh. All I do is cough and choke in Pittsburgh. All I do is cough and choke when the iron filings and sulfur smoke. Pittsburgh, Lord God, N-C-I-O, Pittsburgh, Lord God, Pittsburgh. So that night,
After our show, we started heading east, playing over in Spokane for the Steelworkers Union, and then making our way over to Butte, Montana. That's coming up soon.